Welcome to the Arts Access Florida podcast. I'm your host, Malika Hollis. This podcast supports the art nonprofits and artists around us. We strive to amplify different voices in our community by creating a space for conversation, education, and connection. Support for Arts Access Florida comes from Community Foundation Tampa Bay, champions of philanthropy. Learn more at cftampabay.org. Today we have Dallas Clark on the podcast, a junior music technology major at the University of Tampa. Dallas has always had a passion for music and has followed that passion to college. He even started his own music collective, Stratus Sound. We hope you enjoy this chat on his journey. Hi, Dallas. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Would you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, so I'm Dallas Clark. I'm a music technology major at the University of Tampa. Um, Currently a junior. Been going for 3 years. Been enjoying it. Love Tampa.
So, when we spoke earlier, you said you were originally from Naples. Growing up, were you always involved in music?
Yeah. So growing up in Naples, in our house, I grew up with a beautiful Baldwin piano always in the living room, and no one in the house could actually play it. So once I hit second grade, I asked my mom if I could start taking piano lessons. In middle school, started doing band, so I picked up clarinet and then saxophone the next year. And then when I got to high school, started doing marching band and all that. So yeah, I've definitely been in music all of pretty much my whole life since second grade.
Okay, so I'm pretty impressed that you decided to start playing piano in second grade because it just reminded me I had a piano growing up, and also a lot of us didn't know how to play it very well in my house, but I gave up on my lessons pretty easily, which I'm kind of now regret. So how did you have the wherewithal as just a 7-year-old to want to learn to play piano?
So even before then, before I was interested in playing piano, both of my parents are really into music, and my dad played guitar for me growing up, and he used to record some of his own songs and would just show me a lot of classic rock, prog rock, and lots of good music. So I think that is what really got me into music and starting to appreciate it. So when I got on piano, I picked it up relatively quick for a second grader. So I think it was easy for me to stay interested and enjoy it.
That's great. So, what do you think it is about music that you gravitate towards the most? Is it the lyrics? Is it the harmonies? Is it the melodies?
So I think the biggest thing for me is, well, it's a combination of all of those things, but I think harmony is really what does it for me, because different harmonies can just portray so many different emotions without even using words necessarily. It could give you a complete emotion and feeling that you can't experience otherwise. Obviously there's major and minor chords, right? So like happy and sad, but then you go beyond that and you start expanding on those chords and those harmonies, and you could make more complicated emotions and different feelings that you can represent.
So, in middle school, that's when you started band. What was that like for you?
So I started on clarinet, which is funny because for a year leading up to that, I forgot to mention, but I did percussion lessons for a little. So I went into middle school expecting to do percussion, and apparently everyone else that joined band also wanted to do percussion. So I decided on clarinet because I have an uncle who used to be a professor at the University of Illinois Champaign up there for clarinet.
So, did you end up liking playing the clarinet, or were you kind of bummed that you still weren't in the percussion section?
At first, I was definitely a little let down by it, but I think after playing it for about 2 or 3 months, I started getting more into it, and I still play it just about every day now, and I've grown to really appreciate it.
Okay. So, in high school, you joined the marching band, which I just have to say, I remember my high school marching band really well. And they were very good. But what I really remember about them is how much fun they used to have. And they really were this super tight knit group. It was different than, kind of the other sports teams. So, I'm wondering, was your experience similar to that?
Right. Yeah. I definitely experienced that. I'm sure it depends on who you ask, but we had a huge band at the high school in Naples that I went to. It was when I first joined, it was close to 400 members. Um, yeah, so everyone was really into it. And then by my junior year, I became the drum major. So I was the one up front, conducting everyone and leading us when we marched out onto the field. So that was a great experience. I definitely learned a lot of like leadership skills and how to communicate with large groups of people. So yeah, that was a great experience. Really appreciate all of that, and still keep in contact with a lot of the people that I was in that band with. Made a lot of great friends.
Oh, wow. So you said you learned a lot of leadership skills while you were in band. What are some of those skills and how do you use them today?
So I think mostly what I learned is just how to try to communicate to a bunch of people, how to be on the same page and strive for the same goal, which definitely has helped me now with music technology here at the University of Tampa. I have helped found a music producers student organization where it's all music producers, audio engineers, and artists. And we all just try to collaborate and educate each other as much as we can based off our own experiences and knowledge.
So let's go back a little before you started college. How did you make the decision that you wanted to become a music technology major?
Well, I actually didn't decide until my last few months of senior year, actually. So, right around the time that I was deciding what school I was going to go to. I knew I wanted to do music, but not necessarily the technology side. And I think my last 2, 3 years of high school, I just realized more and more how interested I was with like synthesizers and the recording process and all the different gear that goes into it. Um, and then I found out that University of Tampa, where my brother was already going to, I found out that they had a music technology program, which is a pretty new thing that you don't see at a lot of schools. So I was like, yeah, maybe I'll test this out, see how it goes, you know. And I have not regretted it ever since.
So give us a little insight into what it means to be a music technology major. What kind of courses do you take?
Right. So I still take the typical music major classes, like music theory and aural skills. I still do wind ensemble, orchestra, jazz bands, all that fun stuff. But then on top of that, we also take classes such as recording and electronic music, which is all about like using microphones, using a recording studio, how different gear operates, uh, the basics of like audio, like the science behind audio. Um, yeah, so we're learning all that music theory stuff, and then on top of that, learning how to actually record and make things sound the best we can.
Okay, so what's been your favorite class?
That's a good question. I think it's between two, and both of them I'm taking this semester. So one is called audio. It's called Entrepreneurship for Audio Professionals, which has been a great help. We kind of talk about like the music industry and business and being an entrepreneur while also trying to be creative and being this music space. It's not the easiest thing to do. So having a class specifically for that has been great. And the other one would probably be the basic guitar class I'm in right now, just because learning a new instrument has been a good time.
Ooh, I love beginning guitar. I think I took that in college too. And also, I love this other class. It sounds really tactile because you know how it is. Sometimes you're in classes, and when you get in the real world, it's hard to apply them. So, this sounds like a class you could actually use when you're out of school.
Right,
So, also on campus, you were involved with the Tampa Music Producers, and I believe you are the vice president, right?
right.
Can you tell us a little bit more about this group and what do you enjoy about working with your fellow students?
So yeah, our whole objective really is just to try to educate our peers and collaborate with them, because just as students, we have a different view of classes and all the academia stuff that goes on at school. So we try to worry about that. The stuff that we don't necessarily think the school is teaching us, we try to share with our peers. And on top of that, we've also done some performance opportunities here on campus for our members. Just this year, we did an event called Golden Hour that was in the main courtyard on campus. And we had, I want to say, it was 6 or 7 people came up and performed and had a decent sized crowd. And we had DJs and singers. It was a good time.
How do you feel the world of music technology is moving? Do you feel like it's moving forward and changing?
It's definitely changing with all of the new software coming out and AI technology. I know a lot of people are worried about AI taking over like the music tech worlds and starting to make all of the instrumentals and lyrics. And there's this new Drake song on Spotify, that's all AI with his voice. So I think honestly, kind of where music technology is headed is a lot of legal issues with AI stuff like that.
Do you see any ways where AI can work positively with music?
I wouldn't say necessarily on the music side of things, but as far as like marketing and promotion goes for songs, me and the group that I help run called Stratus Sound here in Tampa, um, we have used it to help us with like visual aids. We don't necessarily just plug a sense into AI, see what comes out, and then post this online. But we use it for like inspiration. So if we have a rough idea of something we'll want to do for, say, an album cover, we'll type into there, get some different ideas of like how it could look, and then change things up, or just use the inspiration.
Cool. That's a really great way to work with it. I feel like AI is really helpful when you're like, yeah, when you're trying to brainstorm and come up with ideas. Sometimes it just helps your brain like put together all the thoughts that you have.
Exactly.
Since we're on the topic, let's go ahead and talk about Stratus Sound, which is your own music collective. Tell us about that because it's quite an endeavor to start while you're already a student in college.
Yeah. So Stratus Sound was started about a year ago, in 2022, and it consists of four artists, one of which is also a producer. I help executive produce, and I'm the lead engineer for the group. And we're a mixture of hip hop, EDM, and pop music. Definitely a lot more influences than just that and everything, but I would say our overall sound is hip hop, EDM. Um, but yeah, all of us are music technology students here at the University of Tampa. Uh, and I would definitely say that ever since we created it a year ago, that all of us have greatly improved and come a lot closer, and things are looking good.
So, what made you want to start this music collective and with other UT music technology students?
Right. So I think this kind of goes into the same as why we started the music producers organization, is we just felt that some things were lacking as far as the academia side of things went. So we kind of tried taking it into our own hands to try to find performance opportunities and to try to like improve our production, recording, and all of that without having to necessarily rely on just the professors. We're more so relying on each other to help each other learn and improve.
Yeah, that's amazing. Collaboration is really just the key to everything. So, how can other artists, other musicians get involved with Stratus Sound? How can they find you?
Well, you could either DM us on our Instagram at stratus.sound, or if you go to stratussound.com, there's a button that says contact us. And if you click on there, you can see multiple ways to reach out to us.
So, what are some of your goals for yourself and Stratus Sound?
Yeah, we really just want to be performing as much as possible and collaborating with the big names in the area of Tampa, and then beyond that, in the whole world. And just really be the biggest artists and producers and entertainment company that we can be.
So, how do you monetize music these days? Because it is so much easier to put your own music out there, and I'm guessing streaming isn't the best place to make money.
Right. So it's very tough to get monetized. The most money in the music industry is from selling merchandise and from live performances, like from selling tickets.
Right, right.
Because as far as streaming goes, you're getting a fraction of a penny per stream. So that can only go so far unless you're getting millions and millions of streams.
So, back to school, you also collaborate with other students on campus who aren't just music majors, such as Jasmine Liao, who is a film major at the university. What's the process like of helping someone else make their vision come together?
It was a great time. So Jasmine reached out to me about the film that she was creating, Cup of Deja Brew, and she already had the music written, which makes things super easy on me. And she also found musicians to play it that also go here to the University of Tampa. So we found 2 days as recording sessions where we came into the studio here on campus, set up some mics for a cello and a violin player the first day. and had a really nice recording session. It was a good time.
So, how do you find working with people who have less of a background in music but still want to create something?
I think it's really just all about patience. You got to understand, like, everyone's a beginner at some point, doesn't necessarily understand music theory or how things work. So I think just being patient with people and kind of holding their hand and, like, baby step taking them through the process of making a song or writing music. Yeah, I think it's totally doable though. Anyone can write something. They just gotta trust their ears.
Great. So, you're a junior now. You're going to start your senior year next fall. What are you hoping to do once you graduate?
Well, ideally, if Stratus Sound is going well enough, I would just be relying on that. And if not, I would love to get a job in a studio here in Tampa. I would not mind staying in Tampa Bay at all.
Awesome. Well, good luck to you. So, would you mind repeating again where people can find Stratus Sound and also where they can find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram is at Dallas_Clark4. You can find me there. Stratus Sounds is at stratus.sound. Or if you want to find all of our music to stream, you could go to stratussound.com and then click on the releases tab.
Thanks. And is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'll just say to anyone out there that's considering going into music technology or getting into the world of music production and engineering, I'd say just go for it. The internet and YouTube specifically is just full of advice and how to do things. So really, as long as you have some sort of resources to be able to do it, I think anyone can learn it and be good at it. And I just want to say thank you for having me on here. I really appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. Thank you so much for being on this episode. Thank you for listening. Learn more about our guests in the show notes. Follow us on any social platform by searching Arts Axis Florida or on our website, artsAXISFL.org. We are a product of WUSF Public Media and sponsored by Community Foundation Tampa Bay and Gobioff Foundation. Copyright 2023, WUSF Public Media.